I'm stoked.
It's going to happen, right?
I got to drive a truck.
It's a lifelong dream for our very own Betsy Kling, and she realized it. I can't wait to see that. Hello again, Northeast Ohio. Welcome to our Monday edition of What's New. Not a victory Monday, but a frustration Monday. And we're going to get into the Browns' loss and all that went on in Los Angeles. We'll break it all down for you in just a little bit coming up. But in the meantime, a very good Monday afternoon to everyone with Betsy Kling, the truck driver. I'm Jay Crawford.
I think so. It was a lot of fun, and we have a little kicker right on the end of that story that I think is going to open a lot of people's eyes.
I can't wait to see it.
Just wait for that. But we're going to start today with Columbus Day and the parade in Cleveland. Back in full swing this year after taking a year off due to the pandemic. This year's celebration happening despite the controversy that often comes with it. Some Native Americans have called for the holiday to be abolished, saying it's painful for them to see it every year. For decades, the Columbus Day Parade in Cleveland has been very popular. It's an annual event that brings together Italian Americans and others to celebrate their heritage. The parade ends very close to the statue of Christopher Columbus in Little Italy. While Cleveland's event remains a big deal every year, bringing out local politicians, including Cleveland's mayoral candidates, the day is still one that is shrouded in a nationwide controversy. Native American groups and others have called on cities and states to abolish the holiday, saying it's painful, as we mentioned, for them to celebrate the things that Christopher Columbus did to the indigenous people who were already here on what is now known as America. Despite Columbus Day being a federal holiday, President Biden pledged his support to Native Americans, issuing a proclamation declaring today Indigenous Peoples Day. For Italian Americans who celebrate this day every year, the calls for ending Columbus Day are disappointing.
Every group that came to this country has made meaningful contributions to America for which that group can be justly proud. We should all be able to celebrate our contributions and our heritage in an atmosphere of mutual respect with one another.
Over a dozen states and more than 130 local governments have chosen not to celebrate Columbus Day altogether or replace it with Indigenous Peoples Day. Obviously, that hasn't happened here in Cleveland, where city leaders opted to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day in August instead. And President Biden's proclamation does give a significant boost to supporters of Indigenous Peoples Day, replacing Columbus Day's federal holiday. But even that likely wouldn't end some of the large local celebrations like what happened here in Cleveland. Jay.
All right, Betsy, on your feed at 5, the latest coronavirus numbers here in Ohio are certainly going in the right direction. We're continuing to see a smaller number of cases. Today, the state reporting 2,936 new cases. Remember, that Sunday number is always one of the lowest of the week. That number is for the past 24 hours, but it is interesting to point out that this is the lowest single-day total that we have seen in the state of Ohio going back 7 weeks. You have to go all the way back to August 23rd to find a day where we had fewer cases. It looks like we're turning a corner. Monica Robbins joins us now with the very latest.
We have been on this roller coaster before, girlfriend. It's the up, it's the down.
It is a roller coaster.
Is this the hope that we are waiting on, that the end of the pandemic is near?
Well, you know, many of the key metrics are going down across the country, except for hospitalizations right now in Ohio. COVID patients account for 13% of Ohio hospital beds, and that number hasn't changed since the end of September. But there is good news on the horizon. A new treatment. Merck today asked the FDA for emergency use authorization for its antiviral drug to treat COVID. Trials show the pill, taken when symptoms begin, cuts the risk of hospitalization and death in half. And now that we're heading into cold and flu season, a treatment like this could be critical. But just like last year, experts are concerned about a twindemic of cold and flu.
Less people are getting flu shots and more people are out and about. We could see a winter surge of both COVID-19 and the influenza virus, creating even more strain on the healthcare system.
But there are signs of normalcy. The Boston Marathon happened for the first time since 2019. And although there were strict protocols, the number of runners cut down by 40%. Each had to be vaccinated or show a negative test. And the starts were staggered to improve social distancing. Similar scene in Chicago. But it is so nice to see something like that happening again.
Yeah, I know. One small step towards normalcy. I got my flu shot. I've got that under the bridge now. And I think the next step for me would be the booster. And that should be available for those that want it soon, right?
If you had Pfizer and you qualify, yeah, you can get that one now. Moderna and Johnson & Johnson, they're having the meetings next Thursday and Friday on those, and I would venture to guess those booster shots will be available probably the following week.
Wow, that's quick.
Yeah,
all right.
that is.
Good stuff.
Sure.
Thanks a lot, Monica.
Sure.
Well, continuing on the medical beat, there's big news for Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine and university hospitals as they've just received an $18.2 million grant to address health disparities for Black patients in Cleveland and Detroit. The two will lead a multi-organizational effort to address cardiovascular health inequities. The ultimate goal of the Achieve Greater initiative is to reduce complications and hospitalizations by improving blood pressure, lipids, and glucose targets for Black patients at risk of heart health issues.
And they're going to give it on the right side to Chubb. Chubb over the 50. Chubb to the 45. Chubb to the 40. Down the sideline 30. 25, 20. 15, 10. 5. There he goes. Touchdown. Nick Chubb. On fourth down. Back to pass. Rolls left. Up in the pocket. He's going to heave one down towards the end zone. And it is incomplete in the end zone. And Njoku, Higgins, and Peoples-Jones were all down there. And the ball will go over on downs to the Chargers. And the Browns are going to lose a heartbreaker here in L.A.
Couldn't have said any better. That is a heartbreaker. That's about as tough a loss as you'll see the Browns take. You score 42 points in the NFL, and typically that one's in the win column. In fact, Jimmy, I don't know if you've heard this number. This is the craziest stat you'll hear today. In the history of the NFL, teams that score 42 points with no turnovers were 442-0 until yesterday. So
and over 500 yards in offense in the game.
It's just amazing.
It really is. It's a heartbreaker. There's no doubt about it, because there were really 4 points in the game where it looked like the game was over and the Browns were going to win the ball game. But the Chargers kept coming back with a great young quarterback in Justin Herbert and a little help from the guys wearing the stripes. And the Browns lose by 5, 47-42. The Browns defense came into that game ranked second in the NFL. But inexplicably, the Browns gave up these touchdown passes. Mike Williams and then Herbert running through tackles and around people and in from 10 yards out. And the Charger offense just had their way. And in the second half, he just kept taking them down the field, and whatever they needed, and they were down by 14 at one point, he got it for them. But these wide open receivers are communication breakdowns in the back of the Browns secondary, and those are not rookies back there. That's Ronnie Harrison and John Johnson III not communicating. So let's go to the other issue. A lot of talk about penalties. 9 minutes to go in the game. The Browns are up by 7. It's a fourth down. A heave down the field to Mike Williams. A.J. Green has it covered, and it's incomplete. And then a late flag comes in. Pass interference call. Look at this. It is Mike Williams grabbing the jersey of A.J. Green. That would be offensive pass interference. Instead, they call it on the Browns' young defensive back, and that set the Chargers up. Late in the game, Baker Mayfield trying to get his team down the field. He's looking, and down the field he goes. And right there, Hollywood Higgins is tripped up at the 45-yard line, and the Browns are upset about that one. Mayfield explodes after the game, and of course, he'll be getting fined this week. But here's what he had to say.
Might as well just forward the fine letter. We asked the ref on the sideline how the hell he missed that call. I mean, they're shoving Donovan Peoples-Jones out of bounds, and then Higgy gets grabbed. So there's 2 PIs on one play. They don't call it. I mean, but we shouldn't have even been in that position. Like I said, we left too many points in the field first half. But it's very frustrating when, we didn't do our job enough to, to just take the ball game away, and we left it in the hands of somebody else. So we got to be better on that.
Next up, the 5-0 Arizona Cardinals come to town. They're the last team that's undefeated in the NFL. We'll play another hotshot quarterback coming up on Sunday at First Energy Stadium. His name is Kyler Murray, and they are playing well. If I could say this to you right now, though.
Yeah.
And you and I talk about this every Monday. There's something missing with the Browns. There's an it factor that is missing. And they want to be in these big games, and they are in them, and this was a classic. Just like that Monday night game last year against Baltimore. People still talk about that game. These are classics. But you have to win those. They had a 14-point lead. They had 3 7-point leads. They had a 1-point lead with 3:01 left to go in the game, and they couldn't put the game away.
Get a couple of first downs there, and it's over.
Yeah.
And Chubb's watching on the sidelines.
I know.
On that, and the play calling on that. With
very
3:08 to go,
yeah.
you run it, then you throw it, then you run it. And I heard Stefanski today say, look, that's on me.
Yeah.
That was a terrible call. I wish I had it to do over again. Before fans hurt their arm reaching for the panic button,
right.
These 2 losses are to elite teams in the NFL on the road. Those are games that you'd love to win, but you're supposed to lose them. Let's see what happens moving forward.
Now, let me also say, if you had, all of you out there, if you had an MRI scheduled today over at university hospitals, you weren't going to get in there, okay? Because the Browns had a long, long line. And, Jay, we're waiting on a ton of results on players that were injured yesterday. By the end of the game yesterday, they only had 3 cornerbacks left. Denzel Ward went out. Of course, Greedy Williams went out. He came back in. They lost M.J. Stewart during the game. Jadeveon Clowney didn't play in the game. They lost.
Newsome couldn't go.
The 2 tackles were out. Wills was out. And then Conklin went out. So I don't know who's going to play on Sunday. And remember, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, he got hit in the throat and was hospitalized last night in L.A. He's home and okay.
Okay, good. Can you play corner if they need you? You can't.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
No, I'm going to claim tight hamstrings.
Me too. Jimmy, thanks. We'll see you in the next half hour. Bets?
Up next for us, remembering a community activist. We take a look back at Mansfield Frazier's impact on Cleveland and how his daughter hopes to honor him.
Then Life Before the Golden Ticket, a first look at Timothée Chalamet as Willy Wonka in the new prequel movie. That's coming up in Pop Break.
And we'll also keep an eye on that forecast. What a gorgeous day we have had today. We have a beautiful evening setting up for anybody who may be out and about, getting a little bit of fall sports in this evening. Temps in the 70s initially will fall back into the 60s tonight. I have fall in my forecast. It's actually going to feel like fall. I'll tell you when next.
Welcome back. Today, many people across Northeast Ohio are remembering a well-known community activist. Mansfield Frazier passed away this weekend at the age of 78 following a battle with cancer.
Our Lydia Esparra has a look at the extraordinary life of an unlikely entrepreneur.
It was in this neighborhood over a decade ago, Mansfield Frazier had an idea. Make a vineyard in a lot that's been vacant since the Huff riots.
On the city's west side, a 150-block area is off limits to everybody.
It was his field of dreams. If you build it, they will come.
What does he know about vineyards or wine? I took great exception to that. I'm an expert at taking the cork out the bottle.
He did more than that. Chateau Huff made some delicious wines, most of it at the hands of the unlikely.
Coming out of incarceration, some coming out of a homeless shelter.
That is something he knew a lot about. Frazier was once incarcerated, too. It was there he learned to write and educated himself. He became a student of life. His daughter, Ashley Smith.
He impacted the lives of so many people, and it's amazing. I'm very fortunate that I did have the short amount of time that I had with him.
Frazier was also a journalist working for the Call-in-Post, WTAM, City News, and the Daily Beast, just to name a few. His mission in life was to give back to a community, and the vineyard keeps on giving.
It's really a jobs program. It's something to stabilize lives.
Ashley found her father just 2 years ago, a perfect match on 23andMe. And she couldn't believe the man she found.
He was a man for the community, so I'm proud to call him Dad.
Frazier was never afraid to talk about his time behind bars. He grew as a man, human, and a pillar in society. He aged like a fine bottle of wine. This is his last picture taken in the vineyards, and he once said, "When I leave Huff, I'm going to heaven. I'll never leave."
I got the best part of him when I found him.
Lydia, thank you. Terrific story. The winery is under the nonprofit of Neighborhood Solutions, and his daughter Ashley now works at the winery and says she's willing to continue the legacy her father left behind. Big loss, for sure.
Such a beautiful day to get out and enjoy. Certainly, I took a long walk, a very long walk, and just soaked it in.
Yeah, we have to, because who knows how many of these we're going to have in calendar 2021.
Well, I actually know in the next 7 days how many more we have.
I bet you do.
Believe it or not, I have that little bit of
do we
knowledge
have at least one
to drop.
of these?
We do.
Oh,
we
good.
do. We have a couple more, actually.
Okay, I'm going to soak them in.
But fall is on the horizon. I know there's people who are ready for boots and sweaters and, well, pumpkin spice lattes are already happening, but maybe a chili pot or something like that. There's plenty coming our way as far as the cool air, and it does get here. Let's take a look at what's happening right now. Temperatures are still well into the upper 70s, even touching 80 degrees in tropical Dover. That south breeze is certainly keeping things fresh. We're going to hold on to a breezy day tomorrow. So even though it will be warm once again, we are anticipating a nice, refreshing breeze to stay with us. There's a look at the cloud cover around Northeast Ohio right now. There's not a lot to speak of, and it's high, thin clouds that are passing through. This will be the story tonight. We'll just have a few clouds holding on, that south wind continuing. So if you like to sleep with the windows open, great night to do so tonight. You'll have a good breeze coming in, but we will stay dry. Whereas folks out west are dealing with another round of thunderstorms. Now keep in mind, this is the storm system that brought the severe weather to the Plain States yesterday, and it continues to move to the northeast. So a lot of the rain is going to hold off. We don't have any rain in our forecast aside from a slim sprinkle chance through the day tomorrow as whatever is left of all this works its way through. But a lot of the energy is going to start to move northward and will be left out of all of that. That being said, in the meantime, we still have plenty of warm air that is stuck across the Ohio Valley and Tennessee valleys. That stays with us tomorrow. Now, we will start to see some cooler temperatures coming in our kind of midweek forecast, but late week, that's a more significant change that's setting up. So as far as tonight goes, as we kind of dive into Northeast Ohio here, we are anticipating seeing just a few high clouds remaining across the area in the overnight. And I mentioned that nice breeze. Temperatures will be down into the low 60s. It's feeling a little humid out there. Thursday is going to be our most humid day of this week, but that south breeze, south-southeast, 10 to 15. Again, sunrise time tomorrow morning is at 7:36. Getting a little late, isn't it? Partly cloudy then as we head through the day tomorrow. And when we have the clouds in the afternoon, we can't rule out a sprinkle. That's the leftovers of that front that is off to the west of us. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s. That south breeze continues. By the way, that south-southwest wind is on the lake as well. 2 to 4 footers offshore. Remember, with a south wind, that's an offshore flow. Going out, smooth. Coming back in, definitely feeling bumpy, and that water temperature is still at 68. Several degrees above average for this time of the year. Here's your Union Home Mortgage forecast. We will remain in the upper 70s as we head through the next several days. By Thursday afternoon and evening then, that's when rain chances come in. Then we'll have a pattern change that begins to set up. Friday, we're looking at scattered showers. Right now, rain looks likely for Saturday, but the Browns game looking beautiful with a mix of clouds and sun in low 60s. Jay?
Oh, we love that, Betsy. Thank you very much. Still ahead in Pop Break. That 70s show is getting a reboot, but it's going a little bit into the future. I think this is a great idea. What you need to know about the new era. Plus, your Worth the Watch is incredible. The priceless reaction from one Texas A&M player's family as he helps his team shock the college football world. You don't want to miss this.
Hi, I'm good, Al. How are you? Fantastic. We're going to be talking about reboot season. Thank you.
It's not hard to notice that we're officially in the era of the reboot. So much of what comes out of Hollywood is a redo of some kind. But there's one on the horizon with a really cool twist.
And we turn to Kira Cotton, who has that and more of today's Pop Break items.
Yep, that's right, Jay and Betsy. Today's Pop Break is all about making what's old new again. Up first, Timothée Chalamet made headlines this weekend. The 25-year-old actor sent social media into a frenzy yesterday when he posted the first look of himself as the young Willy Wonka. Chalamet is set to star in the prequel film about the fictional candy maker's life before the chocolate factory. He posted the photo with the caption, "The suspense is terrible. I hope it will last." There is no word yet on when Wonka is set to premiere. And That 70s Show is getting a spin-off. The show that originally premiered in 1995 is time traveling to the 90s era thanks to Netflix. The new 10-episode series called That 90s Show will follow the daughter of Eric and Donna as she visits her grandparents in Wisconsin. Kirkwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp will reprise their roles as Red and Kitty respectively and will also serve as executive producers. And we all know Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, former WWE wrestler turned actor and entrepreneur. Well, now he's lending his talents to the music industry. Over the weekend, the 49-year-old made his rap debut alongside hip-hop's most successful independent artists. The Rock is featured on Tech Nine's new single Face Off with Joe Cool and King ISO. According to Tech Nine, Johnson was only supposed to do spoken word for the song, but The Rock had bigger ideas. His lyrics read, "It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry." Seems fitting, right? Face Off is out now on all digital streaming platforms. Now, according to The Rock, this all came together thanks to an Instagram direct message. So Jay and Betsy, we're reaping the benefits of social media right now.
Definitely, and I love his post about, his daughter doesn't even know that he is the voice of Moana in the, the character in Moana, Malawi, I think. I can't remember the name of the character, but that his daughter has no idea that it's him.
And he showed off his musical talents for that movie too. So
yeah, he did.
It was only a matter of time.
Yeah.
In typical Rock fashion, whatever he touches turns to gold.
Right. Yep.
This will be fantastic, I'm sure. T, thanks.
So. Sure thing.
Today's Worth the Watch comes from college football. Saturday night, top-ranked Alabama tied late against a huge underdog, Texas A&M. Aggies kicker, Seth Small, on to try the biggest kick of his life, 28 yards for the win. His parents and wife, Rachel, there with the Game On shirt, are watching, hoping, pleading, praying, please make this kick. She says, come on, babe, you got it. You don't even need to see the kick. You're going to, though. Here it comes from 28 yards out. Bets, Alabama was ranked number 1. A&M wasn't ranked.
Yeah, this is like huge upset.
It'd probably be the upset of the year. Jimbo Fisher beats his old boss. The fans run off the field. My favorite part of this video, watch what his wife does. After the kick is good, she is so excited. She does what just about every other fan in the stadium does, because it was at A&M. They're known as the 12th man, the best college fan base in all of sports. When it's good, she gives thanks. And now watch. She's like, "Oh, I've got to be near my husband. In fact, I've got to be near him right now. Oh. In fact, I'm out of here." And there she goes.
The family's like, who?
Yeah, there she's off to.
I had the chance to sit with Jennifer Shermer at a Browns game back in the day when her husband Pat was the coach. She would literally contort in the chair. I felt so bad because she'd have her knees up and it was so painful. But the stress that they feel too is just incredible.
Yeah, there is no kind of stress like that of a family member watching a loved one compete. Because you're powerless. So you just hope and pray and come on. And
so
sometimes it ends like that, and I'm glad in that case it did.
Moment. All right, well, coming up for us, it was a rough weekend for some travelers. The nation's largest domestic carrier canceled nearly 2,000 flights. What you need to know if you have a trip in your near future.
Plus, it was a tough loss for our Brownies. We've talked about it, but the story isn't over yet. The voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, is coming back with us. He's going to preview what's coming up in the week ahead. Bets, this is a big one.
Oh, boy. And later, we'll have a look at the weather again.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
We begin at 5:30 with 3 things you need to know. We start with Columbus Day in Cleveland, the event back in full swing despite nationwide controversy. Native American groups and others have called on cities and states to abolish the holiday, saying it's painful for them to see the things celebrated that Christopher Columbus did to Indigenous people who already lived in what's now known as America. While over a dozen state and 130 local governments chose not to celebrate Columbus Day, here in the city of Cleveland, leaders opted to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day in August. So there's 2 separate holidays, meaning the celebration on the city's east side continued after that year off.
Well, Betsy, there's good news when it comes to COVID-19 numbers across the U.S. and also locally here at home. The nation's rate of positive tests and hospitalizations falling rapidly. There's now more hope that the worst of the Delta surge may have passed. New infections are down 40% since peak levels a month ago. In fact, our Ohio number today is the lowest we've seen in 7 weeks. But not every part of the country is seeing that same improvement. In fact, in the 4 largest states, cases are dropping. But in the upper Midwest and Great Plains, they're still seeing double-digit jumps.
And kids, breathe a sigh of relief. There's no tricks, just treats. That's a Halloween hunch from our nation's top infectious disease expert. Dr. Anthony Fauci says families can feel safe trick-or-treating outdoors this year for Halloween. Over the weekend, Dr. Fauci encouraged children to, quote, go out there and enjoy the holiday all day and all the good stuff you get, too. The Centers for Disease Control has also said that outdoor trick-or-treating would be safe for kids, but people should avoid crowded indoor Halloween parties. Lots of kids going to be very excited to hear that for sure. Remember last year, it was just so weird.
It was weird. I've already decided this year when I'm going door to door, I'm going with 2 baskets. You know, I got to make up for last year's candy that I didn't get.
Little Jay Crawford,
That's
everyone.
Right. I'll be ringing your doorbell at some point on Halloween night.
Keep an eye out for that kid. I bet there's a little bit of a trick there. All right, well, welcome back to What's New. I'm Betsy Kling alongside Jay Crawford. It hurt yesterday.
Man,
it really did.
Yeah.
I tweeted out toward the end of the game, y'all, Big Sue just said a bad word. My mom, I got to watch the game with my parents at my house, and boy, just back and forth, back and forth.
Cursed,
my mom is loud.
Was it a dang it?
And no,
okay.
she was
Next
mad.
level.
So I was like, whoa, Big Sue.
It was painful. We learned a very valuable lesson. The games are 60 minutes for a reason. You know, you can't just shut it down after 57.
Nope.
And even some of the coaching decisions, the coaching was great for 57 minutes. The players, particularly on offense, were great. But it takes the whole 60, and 47-42 the final. Jim Donovan back now from Los Angeles, where he called it. They're 3-2. Yeah. Couple of tough road losses to very good teams, not just good teams. I think the Chargers and Chiefs are elite teams in the AFC, but now the treadmill never stops.
Right.
You got a 5-0 team coming in here Sunday.
Yeah, and then a short week right there.
Right?
You have Denver coming in on a Thursday night. It was a very quiet flight home last night.
I bet.
With arrival at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Ouch.
As we touch down. Really tough. All right, we're going to go to the key point of the ball game. Okay, there were a lot of swings in this game. Fourth quarter, the Browns get the ball back with a little over 3 minutes left to go. They have a 1-point lead. They have 2 great running backs. They have a decent offensive line. Not as great as it's been because they're playing with 2 new tackles yesterday because of injuries by that point in the game. On first down, they get little to nothing on a run. On second down, they throw down the seam to Hollywood Higgins, and they feel that he got interfered with. No call. Then the third down play, which was strange. Here we go. They come up. Kareem Hunt is on the right hip of Mayfield in the shotgun, and they run a draw right into the middle of the Charger defense, 3 yards. So then it starts to unravel as the Chargers are going to get the ball back. What ensued after that was a bad punt by Gillen, and then the Chargers went right down the field. Now the Browns get the ball back late with 1:31 left and no timeouts, but they're just kind of nibbling down the field. You need some chunk play to get you down there so that he can unload and have a shot in the end zone. But look, they're not even into Charger territory at this point in time. They're just nibbling right now. And by the time he heaves one down towards the end zone, again, too far, can't get it to Peoples-Jones with double safeties back. And then another dump down the side. No go. They cannot connect. And then the heave on the final play for them. And this is it. And Joku had the best shot at it. 3 of them were down there with 3 Chargers, and that's it. That third down play was really discussed, and the head coach of the team, Kevin Stefanski, says, it's all on me.
Yes, in hindsight, I definitely wish I did something different. This is where I have to put our guys in position to succeed, and I didn't do that there, and I'm sick about it. Definitely got too wrapped up in the previous play call, with the clock stopping and with, how that unfolded. And I got to put our guys in position, and I can't do that to our team.
All right, a couple of points here. Number one, and you just said it while he was talking there, Jay, you very rarely have a coach come out and fall on the sword like that. Almost never, absolutely. He does it weekly. He'll always come out and say, I should have called a better play there. It was a bad call. But the first problem was, where is Nick Chubb at that point in time? Chubb had run for over 160 yards in the game, and I love Hunt. There's no doubt about it. There's not a big difference between the two guys, but you wanted power in there at that point in the time. He's the guy. Chubb was averaging over 6 yards a carry in the game. If he gets first down 6, now you're second down and 4. So that was the problem right there. Yeah. Number 2 is I still think there's a missing ingredient with the Browns to get over the hurdle. They are not there yet. There are 12 games left to go. Plenty of time to get there, but they're not there yet. And what is there? They got to learn how to close games out and win these games because they played too well all the way up until the last 7 minutes of the game to have it unravel the way it did in Kansas City and in Kansas City last year in the playoff game and definitely yesterday.
Yeah, great teams win those games.
That's it.
And great players lead great teams to those kind of wins. Your point on the 2-minute drive, they ran 3 plays that netted 12 yards and took 50 seconds off the clock.
Right.
And I have to think the rookie coach on the other sideline had to be looking at that going, what's going on over there?
Well, the other thing, Jay, if you're going to nibble, you got to nibble on the sidelines at that point with no timeouts because you can't stop the clock, all right?
Sure.
If you go in the middle of the field and complete something, now you got to get back up to the line of scrimmage. You're going to have to clock the ball to stop the clock on the play. You lose it down in that situation. So, yeah, I mean, they have not looked good in that thing. That's the second part of the lesson of how to close this thing out. But I got to tell you, with a 1-point lead and those 2 running backs, it's not that I had an abundance of confidence, but I liked our shot there, and we didn't have the big horse in there.
2 first downs, game's over.
Over.
You're 4-1.
That's right.
Turn the page. Arizona's coming in, and they're no joke.
We're all wearing orange today.
In our hearts, forever.
Thanks, Jimmy.
You got it.
Well, not even yesterday's loss could keep these college students from lining up early for a shot at free Browns tickets. This was at the Drug Mart on Columbia Road in Olmsted Falls. Here's the deal. At 8 this morning, the first 50 students in line got a free pair of Browns tickets. Just show up, show your college ID, and you get them. You're going to draw a crowd of college kids whenever you offer anything for free. But, Betsy, when you offer free Browns tickets, they're going to turn out, and they certainly did.
Definitely. Well, air travel has a lot of folks talking today after Southwest Airlines canceled at least 1,900 flights over the weekend. Major service disruptions continued today, and so did the headaches for travelers across the country, as Southwest canceled about 30% of its flights today, according to flight tracker FlightAware. The airline says bad weather, staffing shortages, and air traffic control issues are to blame. Now, we did check with Cleveland Hopkins International Airport this morning, of course, one of the stops for Southwest, and only one of their flights was canceled. There's that. Well, coming up. I can't do it, Captain. They put this in, and I'm like trying to remember who said this. I don't have the power. All right, anyway, William Shatner heard those words a lot on Star Trek. He's hoping he doesn't hear them this week as he makes a real trek into space. What he has to say about his upcoming voyage. My Scotty badge has to be turned in.
No, I don't think so. I think that was a solid B+.
Yeah,
I do.
Maybe.
You recovered at the end there.
Yeah.
And later, you've heard Betsy say many times on this show, she wanted to be a truck driver when she was growing up as a little girl. Well, dreams do come true. Right here on What's New, you're going to see our girl get behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler. I can't wait. Look at her go. Insane. Well, we're now just 2 days away from seeing the most famous Starfleet captain in history blast off into space for real. William Shatner, who played Captain Kirk in the original Star Trek, is lifting off in a Jeff Bezos Blue Origin ship. It's now going to happen on Wednesday. It was originally scheduled for tomorrow, but because of 75-mile-an-hour winds coming through West Texas, they have delayed the launch for a day. Here's Shatner on the big real-life mission.
The 75-mile-an-hour winds is like overwhelming. That's close to hurricane. I don't want to be on a rocket, on top of a rocket in 75-mile-an-hour winds, and neither does anybody else. So they have canceled the flight. It was supposed to go up tomorrow morning. It's now scheduled to go up on Wednesday morning, and we've got our fingers crossed. The thing I really want to do is come back down.
He's a national treasure. He really is. At 90 years old, Shatner will become the oldest person ever to fly into space. And Bet's for 90 years old. He looks fantastic.
Yeah.
The space trip will last just 11 minutes, though. But hey, it still counts, and it will be a new record.
Wow.
What do you think?
75-mile-an-hour winds, though. That would get my attention, too.
Yeah, I would say I'm going to take a pass on this one.
Yeah.
But 11 minutes, and I love how he ended it there. Well, I'm looking forward to the launch, but I'm really looking forward to getting down safely and having it all behind him.
It'll be exciting to see it for sure. Well, I'll tell you what, here in Northeast Ohio, I mean, I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag straight away here. It's going to be really nice for the next several days. Matter of fact, the next 5 days, look at that temperature trend. We really don't have anything below average anytime soon. Temperatures staying at or just above average for the next 5 days. After that, yeah, sure, we get a little below average, but let's just focus on the positives, right? We have 3 back-to-back-to-back beautiful days coming the next several days. We will get some rain in here by the time we hit Thursday, late, and then into Friday and the weekend, but that's all part and parcel with having a pattern change. Still sitting at 80 degrees in tropical Dover, darn close to that in Elyria, upper 70s, Cuyahoga County Airport on the east side. And as far as the high temperatures today, 14 degrees above average for our high temperature, 16 degrees above average for Mansfield. Now, I thought I'd zoom out a little bit, kind of show you the bigger picture here. We have this warm air that's sitting here over the Ohio Valley. Storm system out to the west of us. That's going to continue northward. It's not until we tap into this air way west that we really start to see that pattern change setting up, and it's going to take its sweet old time in getting here. So as far as our temperature departure from average on the long scale, Matt loves to show this, and I thought I'd steal it from him. You can see here all of our warm air bottled up in the eastern half of the country, but that blue is coming, and it's going to be kind of filtering in here by the time we hit the weekend. So that's really when we have the prospects to have a more fall-like feeling forecast, is not until we get into the weekend. Now, I mentioned this storm system that's sitting to the west of us. I think we will end up getting the leftover showers of these thunderstorms that are firing right on the Indiana-Illinois line. And again, that's probably going to come through tomorrow afternoon. So other than some cloud cover, really not expecting to have too much in the way of the rain. Here's your National Designer hour-by-hour forecast. Partly cloudy skies through the overnight hours tonight. A few sprinkles are going to be possible tomorrow. Temperatures in the morning starting off in the mid-60s. We'll be right back into the 70s. I think we will get some peaks of sun in here, so we'll call it a mix of clouds and sun for the day tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies. But we can't rule out that passing sprinkle chance, especially as we get into the afternoon and the evening. Temperatures still holding on well into the 70s there in that National Design Mart forecast. Here's your Union Home Mortgage outlook, and you can see mid and upper 70s all the way through Thursday, as we showed you. Low 70s holding on for Friday. Better chances for rain sneaking in. The big game changer gets here by the time we hit Friday into Saturday, and by Sunday, brown Sunday at that. Right now we're looking at a mix of clouds and sun with low 60s. Just a beautiful day for us. Well, coming up, everybody, very excited about this. My childhood dream was to be a truck driver. Last week, I got to climb into the cab, and I learned that behind the wheel of the big rig, it is a very tough job that is very much in demand right now.
And later, and they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Oh, come on. That was not written very well.
That was not in reference to you driving a rig.
Oh, that's timing right there.
It's in reference to real old dogs. I mean, old dogs, those. And they can learn new tricks. And you're going to love what they've learned to do when we come back.
Well, if you watch our show, you know that my dream job when I was a kid was not to do weather. I wanted to be a truck driver, a big rig semi-truck driver. And recently I was talking about it on our show, and our producers said, we need to get you in a truck. Well, not long after that, not only did a childhood friend of mine reach out, the great folks at Tri-C also came through for us. I got to see firsthand that moving America's stuff is a huge job, and it's hard work, but it's definitely worth a look.
The demand for shipped goods by consumers has always been high, but it skyrocketed during the pandemic. And now it's driving a demand for education at Tri-C's Transportation Innovation Center in Euclid.
We have companies coming in here looking to hire our students. So whether it be over-the-road trucking companies or local truck companies, it doesn't matter. They're knocking on the door all the time.
The truck driving program at Tri-C takes 6 weeks. Students obtain their permit before classes start and often have tuition assistance, even a full ride, the moment they get into the driver's seat.
See, at first, I was nervous. And then, you know, it's manual, so you got to get that clutch. We be over here rocking the trailers. I know you probably seen it. It's nervous at first, though, but once you get the hang of it, I've been driving for a while. It's pretty cool.
The bigger they get, the easier they are to maneuver, and people get frightened by the size, but it's not that bad of a thing. It maneuvers very well if you know what you're doing.
When these students are cleared to hit the open road, they'll be earning $50,000+ a year. And the prospects of having a good-paying job that is in high demand that also offers some flexibility is the same reason trucking has been a go-to for decades. Something my friend, veteran driver Carrie Croft, knows all too well.
My thing is, I get paid. This is my office. That's my view every day. And it's beautiful out here. It is so beautiful. I love it. I'm glad that I did this 21 years ago and I'm still doing it.
She's been driving a big rig since we graduated from high school, and she agreed to give me a private lesson.
This is a little bit bigger than my sedan. The trailer.
So maybe if this whole weather thing doesn't work out for me, I'll be hitting the highway.
Oh my God! Look how randy. So what they didn't show you is that when we first took off, I was like clapping and like, Mom, I'm driving a truck. I was being so dorky about it. But you have to remember, that thing is 73 feet long and fully loaded. We are talking about tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of pounds, which brings up a really, really good point. I got to do that ride along with Carrie in that truck, and this is the thing I wanted to really help kind of bring home. Can we roll this video? This is on Angle Road. Watch what happens here. This is in Carrie's truck. I am filming this is her dash cam. Look at this car. Watch. Whoop. Right out in front of us. Now, she hits the brakes with an empty trailer in the back.
Easier to stop.
Easier to stop. Now, if she had, 73,000 pounds in that 73-foot-long truck, can you imagine?
That might be a problem.
That little car would have been toast. Please, people, remember that the trucks are a lot bigger than your cars. So many thanks to the folks at Tri-C.
That was awesome.
That was fantastic. They let me drive that truck, and they weren't even nervous. I don't know how. And, of course, to Carrie Croft and Sonia Express. And I have to say hi to Becky, Carrie's mom, because she's the one that made the shout-out to Carrie.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
You now have your trucker, not wings, I guess it would be wheels.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Fuzzy dice, maybe.
Coming up, it sure feels like it's the dog days of summer with the 80-degree temps. But wait until we show you what these dogs are doing to really live up to that slogan. It's our Show Us Something Good. It's next.
Check 1, 2, 3, Brandon's microphone. This is what it sounds like to be Brandon from Little Italy. Awesome, thank you.
How's that? We wrap up our Monday installment of What's New with Show. Thank you.
Yes, I can. Hello, hello. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We wrap up our Monday installment of What's New with Show Us Something Good. Talk about living the lake life. Meet Bonkers and Lily. They're Belgian Malinois, and these two just love to go for rides on the jet ski, Bets.
Oh, Parma Police Detective Jeff Wells says Bonkers used to compete in K9 competitions where dogs jump off the docks into the water to see how high or how far they can jump or how fast they can swim.
They gave Wells the idea to see if he would ride on the back of a jet ski, and it was a success.
So cute.
They love it. And
Fresh
there they
air,
go.
Fun times.
Oh my gosh.
Put a ball in the mix and they probably would have just been in heaven.
They're in heaven, yeah. We're out of time. Back tomorrow at 5, and we hope to see you then.
What Matters Most with Lena starts right now.
Holiday controversy. Today is Columbus Day, but not everyone is happy for the celebration. Brandon Simmons has reaction from both sides. Numbers game. While one set of COVID numbers goes down, another stays the same as doctors closely eye what's going on in hospitals as we approach Halloween. Monica Robbins explains the trend and why treating COVID could soon be as easy as taking a pill. ready for launch.
The thing I really want to do is come back down.
With weather forcing a delay, William Shatner and the crew of the Blue Origin must wait a little longer to see their dream come true in space. And October heat. The calendar says fall, but it feels like summer. We'll show you what some are doing to soak up these final warm days of the season.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
Good evening. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Lena Lai. Russ has the night off. Today is Columbus Day, a national holiday, or it's called Indigenous Peoples Day. It's a day first designed to remember the explorer often credited with finding the New World. But there is a national push by some groups who want to abolish the holiday forever. Brandon Simmons details the controversy.
The 2021 Columbus Day Parade. We're back, baby! We're back!
Head over to Cleveland's historic Little Italy neighborhood on Columbus Day and you'll surely find some excited Italians ready to celebrate their heritage.
This is a very important and a very symbolic event to Italian Americans.
It's a who's who event of sorts, bringing out Cleveland politicians and mayoral hopefuls, local judges, and marching bands from all around Northeast Ohio. The route ending near the foot of a statue of Christopher